Now, next thing that's been very helpful to me, and I would definitely attribute this to a majority of my mechanical knowledge, and that is vehicle forums. And what we use now is Identifix, which is I'll tell you about that. But there's a free version, which is the forums, and there's a paid version, which is Identifix. The forums are amazing because they are great for learning common issues on a vehicle, but also, shared information from enthusiasts. Now, when I didn't know anything about cars at all, I would constantly be Googling and browsing forums and learning about vehicles. And a lot of times, people in there, they'll give you a detailed rundown of the symptoms, the solutions, what's the problem, what's the fix. And a lot of times, it's awesome. You can find common, seemingly expensive fixes that can be fixed for cheap to free. I've had some cases where I think my best one was a '05 Land Rover. The radio didn't work, and the ignition was in the console, where the shifter is. So the ignition was bad. It was supposed to unlock the steering wheel when you put the key in the middle, but it didn't work. So I found a workaround. Instead of spending like $2,000 for the entire system, I went on forums and I found a guy that he had hardwired a switch into the ignition. It was like a button that resets it and manually unlocks the steering wheel. It worked just as well, and it cost me about 20 cents and an hour's worth of work to fix the ignition. Because, man, it wouldn't turn the key at all. You put the key in, you couldn't turn the car on, you couldn't turn the key whatsoever. So after I made this fix, all you have to do is push the button, turn the key, it fires right up. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Plus, I didn't want to go spend $2,000 for the entire but I learned all of this on a forum. And then also that same Range Rover, the audio system uses fiber optics. So the radio wasn't working because in the trunk, I guess there was an issue with the fiber optic cable or one of the joints. So on the forum, I found this guy that he had used like some plastic pieces from Radio Shack. I'm not kidding. And he used it to pretty much join the fiber optic cables back together. It was like a plastic clip or something, and then I taped over it, and it worked. I mean, radio came right on, everything worked. A total investment of like 70 cents for all these parts and like an hour's worth of time, and I fixed what would have cost like $3,000 to $4,000 at the dealership for all this combined. Man, I spent like 70 cents, all because I looked on the forum. So it is invaluable. It saves a lot of time because you can sometimes diagnose the vehicle yourself just by finding all these common issues that match what your vehicle is doing. And so it's a pretty safe bet that it's probably the same cause, because I've noticed that all vehicles tend to have all the same recurring issues. And if you have the issue, somebody else that has owned that vehicle has probably had that issue and posted in forums. I'll give you an example. Let's see. So we all know about the '04 F-150s. They have really bad issues with cam phasers. So if you don't know that, if you're looking at an F-150 and it has a misfire, the engine's kind of shaking, and you're like, it just needs spark plugs and a coil pack. Well, you are in for a surprise, my friend. Misfire runs rough. Now we're looking for, boom, right there. There's a forum, F-150 forum, Ford F-150.net. F-150 online. I mean, all these are forums that are very useful, and Car Gurus has their own little forum too. So, this guy, he tells you he's completely stumped. He's checked all these things. He's not sure what to do. And then some, people come in and offer advice and, little different easy free tests to do. Then sometimes they'll link to other things, which is, here, now you start to find out that, hey, there's an issue with the cam phasers. What does that mean? So you start researching that. You learn that on these F-150s, they have a really common issue with the oil sludging up the engine, and the timing and the variable cam system runs off of oil pressure. And once that fails, your truck's going to run like shit. and then it's like a $2,000 repair. So you just go down a rabbit hole, you spend some time researching, and next thing you know, you've learned more about this vehicle over time than what most people can tell you. And self-educating like this, consistently doing this, will teach you over time. You'll learn about common issues, and you'll learn how to save money. Now, not only that, guys, below this video, I'm going to link up my personal do not buy list that you can purchase. And if you haven't already, you need to check that out, because I list all the most common vehicles that I do not buy and all the common issues, plus vehicles that I'm very careful about buying. Now, when you look at the forums, just constantly researching stuff. And if you really want to get good at this pretty quick, while you're doing all of your daily market search, market research, if you're coming across issues with vehicles, just jump on Google real quick. Just make it, while you're chilling. You shouldn't be watching TV, but if you are, do it while you're watching TV, or just make it a nightly ritual. Start researching common issues that you see pop up. You might find out that you might be able to fix what someone thinks is a very expensive issue pretty cheaply. Now, what we use as a shop, but a lot of shops use this also, it's called Identifix, and it is a mechanic resource where you pay like $159 a month. There's no contract, but it includes labor guides, diagrams, common issues, solutions, support, labor guide, TSBs, recalls, all that cool stuff. And it's really good for fixing your own cars, because you can look up parts diagrams, electrical diagrams, testing procedures. It tells you confirmed solutions for problems, so you can type in symptoms or the engine codes, stuff like that. I'll give you a little tour of it, because I've enjoyed having it. It's been a really useful tool to have. Let's see. Let's just say we're looking at my Lexus that I drive, and it's got a misfire. You can type in misfire in the symptoms. It'll show you a results. You can look up TSBs, testing procedures, service manuals, but also it's like a forum itself, because mechanics who have this service, they go in here and they'll put their cases. And in this case, if it has got a misfire on the cylinder 8, 2 people have said that the cylinder heads were bad. But this guy, the hotline archive, it said that on cylinder number 5, it was an ignition coil. 12 people said ignition coil, 2 people said spark plugs. This is really cool, because you start to find out what's really common. So like right here, if you have a vehicle like a Lexus with this V8 engine and all these codes, and if you click on it, it'll tell you more, then there's a good chance your timing belt's bad, or jump time. So we go here, this is all the vehicles it applies to. The Tundras, the Sequoias, the Lexus, they all have the same engine. Here's the codes. Here's the confirmed reported fixes. And, boom, it's really good information. For me, it's been very valuable. Plus, we have 2 mechanics that use that resource. And we pay our mechanics flag hour. So, in addition, you have labor guides. You can go in. I think it was, where was it? Right here. So you can go in, how long should it take to replace an alternator? Because I'm going to pay my mechanic for the amount of time that it should take, not how long it actually takes him if he sucks. So look, it says that to remove and replace an alternator, it should take 2.3 hours, and that's what I will pay him on. 2.3 hours times his flag hour rate, and that way I don't overpay. Now also, if you have this as a flipper or a dealer, but you have no mechanic, you can verify whatever shop you use. You can audit their invoice by actually looking up this information yourself, which is really cool. Now it's really good for hard to find information. Certain information that might not show up on forums. I've noticed that like high-end vehicles, BMWs, Mercedes, those people don't go on forums and talk about their issues. They just take it to the dealership and have it fixed. So in that case, that information will pop up on Identifix because a lot of mechanics work on them, but the person doesn't go on the forums and put it there because they don't fix it. Like I said, it's $159 month to month. It's awesome. I know it saves so much time. It saves so much money. And being able to pay my employees flag hour instead of just hourly rates or on how long it actually took, I know that saves us a lot of money because, they know that the expectation is to get it done in the expected amount of time and not to dilly-dally. So just in the savings alone, I'm sure it's worth it. And they have a $1 trial for like 14 days, if you want to check it out. There's some alternatives. They have All Data, Mitchell. But I think all these other ones, they require long-term contracts because when I was shopping, they were talking about, 12 months, 24 months, whatnot. And I wasn't open to that.